doesn't only give news, it inspires you to be the better version of yourself. Don't just fly, soar high.
Vaccine has received a significant financial boost. Dozens of countries have pledged $8 billion to speed up research. The US, China, and Russia did not take part. Well, the Trump administration is projecting coronavirus deaths in the US will reach 3,000 a day by the end of this month. That's according to documents seen by the New York Times. And that comes as a number of states have started to reopen. And New Zealand has reported no new coronavirus cases now for the second day in a row. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has joined a meeting of Australia's cabinet to discuss quarantine-free travel between the two countries. Well, let's bring you some other news now. And Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro says 13 people have been captured following an alleged coup attempt. The government says the US and Colombia are behind the plot to overthrow Maduro. The country's Attorney General also accused opposition leader Juan Guaido of being involved. Guaido denies those allegations and says the raid was organized by the state. Maduro says he has evidence they were trying to kill him.
Un funcionario estadounidense.
A U.S. official and a consultant in the war in Iraq and Afghanistan last night reported and showed the contract signed by the Venezuelan opposition to privatize and prepare an expedition of mercenaries and terrorists trained in Colombia to storm Venezuela and try to kill me.
Now, Argentina has entered into negotiations with international creditors that will determine whether the country falls into its 9th debt default. The deadline to reach a deal runs out on Friday. The government wants to delay loan interest repayments for 3 years and have 60% of payments written off. Now, scientists have made a major breakthrough in the fight against malaria. They found a microbe that prevents mosquitoes from being infected with the disease, stopping them from infecting humans. The microbe is known as a Microsporidia MB and lives in the guts and genitals of mosquitoes. Researchers could not find malaria in any mosquitoes carrying that microbe. The World Health Organization says more than 400,000 people are killed by malaria each year, most of them children under 5. It's thought at least 40% of mosquitoes in an area would need to be infected with that microbe for it to have a serious impact on malaria. Well, Jeremy Herron is a research scientist at the International Center of Insect Physiology and Ecology. He led the study and explains how mosquito populations could be controlled with the discovery of this new microbe.
There's a few characteristics that we found in this microbe that actually give us some clues as to what we could use to get it out there. And so that is the vertical transmission. So a mother mosquito infects all of her offspring by inserting the Microsporidia into their eggs. So that is one way in which the symbiont can spread into a population. It is also infectious, and we've actually found that it can be infected as mosquitoes mate. So we could mass release male mosquitoes, which don't have the capacity to transmit malaria in any case. It's only transmitted by females. And they could then spread that infection to females, which would then pass it on to their offspring. So there are a number of different ways that we could get it out there, and that's really the focus for the future studies. We've made incredible progress, and there's been a lot of hard work to get us to where we are, but we're still very far away from where we need to be. And as you've pointed out, there are too many people dying every year from malaria. So new developments such as this could really be game-changing.
Now, returning to the coronavirus pandemic, and Nigeria has joined the host of countries easing restrictions following a 5-week lockdown there. But medical workers warn that large crowds returning to the streets could send the country on track for a major spike in cases. Ahmed Idris reports from Abuja.
Nigerians in the capital take tentative steps towards normal life after a 5-week lockdown. But scenes like this shock medical workers on the front lines of the fight against COVID-19.
It is not a good decision at this stage, and coupled with Nigeria health system that is not strong. If we have large number of people who are infected, we may not have the carrying capacity of the hospital beds to be able to take care of those who may have been infected.
Some of the city's open markets remain closed, frustrating many traders who have not sold anything for more than a month.
There's starvation everywhere, people know that. And there's no provision for us, the masses. So I can't see a reason why we'll be on lockdown. The market should be open for us to trade.
The lockdown has taken a toll on lives and livelihoods, and many here are in a hurry to recoup their losses. The collapse in oil prices has been another major blow for Nigeria's oil-dependent economy.
Our stores are full. We're trying to keep the prices as they are. We don't want to even think about our losses. As a businessman, your priority is to keep your customer in good and bad times. Remember, many people didn't earn any money for weeks now.
But some health experts insist the government should continue to enforce emergency measures. The government says while certain restrictions are being lifted, night curfews will start from 8 o'clock until further notice. And wearing of masks like this while outside and social distancing will now be strictly enforced, in addition to reducing passenger numbers on public transport. For now, places of worship will remain closed, with government worried about enforcing social distancing. And other Nigerians fear the lifting of restrictions when infections are on the rise could be disastrous. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera, Abuja.
Well, nearly 500,000 refugees living in camps in Kenya are at risk of a coronavirus outbreak because of crowded conditions and a lack of healthcare. Malcolm Webb reports.
Anna Adio fled fighting in her hometown in South Sudan when she was 2 years old. Her parents brought her here to Kakuma refugee camp in northern Kenya. It's been her home ever since. Over decades, it's become a city of shacks, home to nearly 200,000 people. Trips to the water pump or the market are essential. It's the way people get food to eat. She's worried about the spread of the coronavirus in the camp.
Where we fetch water, we have to queue, and social distancing is practically impossible. That scares me.
Anna's among nearly 500,000 refugees in Kenya. Many escaped the conflicts in neighbouring Somalia and South Sudan. Most live in camps like Kakuma. So far, no cases of the virus have been identified here. But refugee rights activists say cramped conditions and the lack of healthcare could be a recipe for disaster.
Unfortunately, it means possible devastation. People who are infected will not be able to be isolated. People who there'll be a lot of transmission. The spread will be fast and the response will be slow.
The UN's refugee agency released this video showing measures that have been taken to prevent the spread of the virus during food distributions. It says it's added extra water points for washing hands, but that doesn't change many of the realities inside and outside the camps.
Protecting refugees from coronavirus is not only about protecting refugees or about protecting host communities. Really, it's about protecting all of us. And if everyone is not protected, then the truth is none of us are protected.
People in Kenya and other parts of Africa are waiting to see if or when the coronavirus will spread as much as it has in Asia, Europe and the US. Health experts say it could be disastrous. Anna says life's already become more difficult. The crisis has pushed up food prices. She's worried about her family in the weeks ahead. She says all they can do is pray to God. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera, Nairobi, Kenya.
Now, Syria's president has warned there could be a catastrophe if coronavirus infection rates spike. There have been few recorded cases, but Bashar al-Assad says health services could be overwhelmed if that changes. A curfew has been in place now for a month. 44 cases and 3 deaths have been confirmed. Well, Turkey has begun easing restrictions. Travel between 7 cities will be allowed for the first time in weeks. More than 130,000 people there have tested positive. Now, Air France has been told it'll need to become more environmentally friendly as part of a bailout deal to keep it afloat. The European Union has signed off on a $7.6 million loan to help the struggling airline. But France's economy minister says the deal is contingent on the airline slashing its CO2 emissions and cutting domestic routes that can no longer be justified. Now, a temporary hospital set up in the UK's capital is expected to be placed on standby within days because of a lack of patients. London's Nightingale Hospital was built with army help at the beginning of last month. It has the capacity for 4,000 beds, but is believed to be treating only about a dozen patients. The Formula One racetrack in Mexico's capital will become a temporary clinic to treat patients who've contracted the coronavirus. The decision came as hospitals in Mexico City reported they're almost over capacity. The country's confirmed more than 23,000 cases and 2,154 deaths. Well, Peru's opposition leader has been released from prison after her lawyer argued that she risks contracting the coronavirus there. Keiko Fujimori, the daughter of the former president Alberto Fujimori, was jailed back in January. She's accused of accepting more than $1 million from a Brazilian construction firm during her 2011 presidential election campaign. She denies the allegation. Well, scientists in Chile have developed a test that could help diagnose coronavirus patients earlier and for a fraction of the price. Now, one of the symptoms of COVID-19 is the loss of the sense of smell. And a university in Santiago has developed an aroma test kit. Our Latin America editor, Lucia Newman, with how it works.
The sweet aroma of a flower, a pleasure made possible by our sense of smell, which is also one of our least used senses. That's why scientists were late to catch on that an estimated 80% of people who present no obvious symptoms of coronavirus, in fact, have partial or total anosmia.
Many of them have experienced just anosmia, which is olfaction, loss of olfaction, of the olfactive capacity. No other symptom, no cough, no fever, just anosmia.
A fever can be easily detected with a thermometer or thermographic camera, but not the loss of smell, which is highly subjective. Now, the School of Engineering and Center of Aroma and Taste at Chile's Catholic University have developed an objective test to measure it. The kit consists of 6 extremely familiar aromas. A person is asked to identify 3. You can fail the test and not be infected, but you can't pass if you are, says Professor Agostin.
And then you can isolate the person that shows some olfactive dysfunction and corroborate if this person has or hasn't the COVID-19.
We went to try it out.
So I've always prided myself on having a good sense of smell, but now we're going to see. Número 2. All correct. So I passed the test, and thank God. And the amazing thing about this is that it's not only very, very quick, it's extremely inexpensive, about 30 cents per test, which means that it's a very viable alternative in countries that can't afford widespread testing with the classic COVID-19 examinations.
A pilot program is starting this week, but already there's widespread interest in using the kit in areas where there's a high probability of infections.
In industries that can't stop, for example, like food production in mines or hospitals, they can test them frequently, and if they don't pass, send them to take the traditional test to confirm.
Indeed, just like having a high temperature does not mean that you have COVID-19, losing your sense of smell isn't proof of infection. But the smell test does provide a new early warning system to help detect those who are spreading the disease without even knowing it. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera, Santiago.
Hello there, this is Al Jazeera and these are the headlines. The search for a coronavirus vaccine has received a significant funding boost. Dozens of countries have pledged $8 billion to speed up research. The US, China and Russia did not take part.
We've made it. Today is a defining moment for the global community. At a time when we are sitting further apart than usual, the world has shown it is standing closer together than ever before. And in the space of just a few hours, we have collectively pledged 7.4 billion euros for vaccines, diagnostics, and treatments. And all this money will help kickstart unprecedented global cooperation. And it will create a truly unique global public good.
Well, the Trump administration is projecting coronavirus deaths in the United States will reach 3,000 a day by the end of this month. That's according to documents seen by the New York Times. And that comes as a number of states start to reopen. New Zealand has reported no new coronavirus cases for the second day in a row now. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has joined a meeting of Australia's cabinet to discuss quarantine-free travel between the two countries, but she says it'll be a long time before there are open borders with the rest of the world. After 8 weeks in lockdown, Italy is easing restrictions. The construction and manufacturing sectors are restarting, and people can also visit family members. In the UK, a temporary hospital that has capacity for 4,000 beds is expected to be placed on standby within days. London's Nightingale Hospital is believed to be treating only a dozen patients at the moment. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro says 13 people have been captured following an alleged coup attempt. The government says the US and Colombia are behind the plot to overthrow Maduro. The Attorney General also accused opposition Juan Guaido of being involved, which he denies. Well, those are the headlines. Next up, it's Witness.
Be the hero the world needs right now. Wash your hands.
بص يا أستاذ، ده كم الأقلام اللي خلاص ما بقتش مستعملة لأن الحبر اللي فيهم خلص. يعني في هنا مش أقل من 200 قلم. مش قادر أرميهم. إقلام. الكاتب لا يفرط في قلمه. تعلمت من الإنجليز شيئا هاما، هو عدم الاحتفاظ بالأشياء التي ليس لها لزوم. فإنك لن تجد في البيت الإنجليزي أي كراكيب أو أي شيء يجعلك تشعر أنه زائد عن حاجة البيت أو زاحم الدنيا بدون مناسبة وبدون مبرر. أتصور الآن أنني لو استفدت بعد عودتي إلى القاهرة مما تعلمته من الإنجليز فرميت كل الأشياء التي ليس لها لزوم في بيتي، فسأفاجأ بأن البيت قد أصبح على البلاط. أنا اسمي حسين أدري، احتفلت بعيد ميلادي ال80 في أول يناير اللي فات. بشتغل صحفي بقالي 55 سنة، شديد السعادة بأن أنا بقيت صحفي. ده بشن عليه بقول إنه في القصة القصيرة إنه قصير قوي. ده بقول عليه في أدب الأطفال لأنه برضه كاس صغير قوي. لكن في الحقيقة أنا لا أخدته في القصة القصيرة ولا في أدب الأطفال. كل دول اشتريتهم على حسابي من محلات، اديت لنفسي جوائز.
اسمي عفيف احمد، عندي علا وعصام وعماد، بنت وولدين. طبعا احنا اتجوزنا من زمان قوي، يعني من حوالي يمكن 25 سنه. طبعا عندي قصه بقى حب بيني وبين علاء، طبعا دي كانت قصه جميله قوي والحمد لله اتجوزنا. يعني كان عرفنا بعض كده وكنا جيران. طبعا يعني تفتكري اغنيه زمان بتاعت نجاة ساكن قصادي وبحبه؟
اسمي ليلى فوزي، عندي 52 سنة، بشتغل محامية، متجوزة بقالي حوالي 23 سنة، عندي بنت عندها تقريبا 21 سنة ونص في بكالوريوس تجارة، وعندي أحمد عنده 18 سنة في ثالثة ثانوي، وزوجي بيشتغل مدرس لغة عربية. ما اتجوزنا ما عملناش فرح، استلفت فستان واستلفت طرحة، وجي خدني هو واصحابه واخواته والعيلة عندنا، ورحنا كتبنا الكتاب في الحسين، وهيصولنا شوية تحت العمارة اللي احنا سكننا فيها وخلاص كده اتجوزنا.
المرحومة سامية حمام هي أجمل قصة في حياتي كلها. كانت إنسانة رائعة، ماتت من 22 سنة وهي نائب رئيس تحرير مجلة الإذاعة والتلفزيون، وماتت وأنا بعيد عن مصر لأن أنا كنت وقتها انتدبت مراسلا للإذاعة المصرية في واشنطن ثم في لندن، بعد كده حيث لا زلت أنا حتى الآن. ما حضرتش جنازتها، لكن سامية بعد 22 سنة من وفاتها لا زالت هي حبي الكبير لغاية الآن.
أحب تاني لا لا لا، تاني تاني لا لا لا، ده مستحيل قلبي يميل، أحب تاني لا لا لا، أحب تاني لا لا لا. أنا اسمي أمال عبد العزيز سليمان عطية الرفاعي، وأنا من كفر الشيخ، وعشت هناك العمر كله، وجينا هنا بقالنا يجي 15 سنة في مصر اهو. جينا مسكنا عمارة وأنا وجوزي وعيالي، أنا بقالي يجي 15 سنة هون ولا 18 سنة بشتغل.
هنا اهو هنحط الحواض بتاعت الغسيل، وانا بفكر في الحته ديت نحط المرايات والسرفيس لتسريحات الشعر. عندي ذوق مش كده؟ بص بقى، انا ايه رايك لو جينا من الحته دي لغايه هنا اهو نحط صندره.
صندره ليه؟
نحط فيها الكراكيب، اطلع ارسم فيها.
بكيا 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 روبا بكيا، يلا عندك روبا بكيا، وكل حاجة قديمة للبيع.
احنا كشعب مصري غاويين يبقى عندنا كراكيب في بيوتنا، وهي اعتقد ان هي بقت موروثات شعبية، يعني من زمان جدا كل الشعب المصري غاوي يحط القديم مع الجديد. احنا الشعب المصري كده بنحب الكراكيب، دي موروثات شعبيه من ايام الاحتلال.
وبعدين نغير طعم الكلمات ان انت تعمل حاجه مختلفه، مش لازم يبقى نفس الطعم اللي احنا متعودين عليه، زود حاجه قلل حاجه هتلاقي.
الكراكيب اللي ممكن ما يبقاش لها لازمه دي اسمها كراكيب، لكن الحاجات اللي بتبقى زيادات مثلا دي بتبقى بتنفع. يعني في حاجات هو يقول لك ايه الكراكيب دي مش عارف ايه ارمي بتاع الكلام ده، فانا من وجهه نظري لا، دي مش من وجهه نظري مش كراكيب، ممكن هستفاد بيها، ممكن هصلحها وتبقى كويسه وكده، وفي نفس الوقت اوفر لجوزي واوفر لنفسي وابقى حاجه استفدت بيها.
الشعب المصري شعب فقير، ولما بيجيب حاجة بيجيبها بفلوسه فيحتفظ بيها وتبقى كراكيب، وبعد فترة صغيرة يكتشف انها كراكيب، لكن برضه ما يقدرش يخلص منها. هيخلص منها ازاي؟ هيرميها على الشارع؟ هيحطها في الزبالة؟ دي ذكريات.
شيلي يا حمد.
يعني طبعا ده مش درج كراكيب، هو اصلا الحاجات اللي انا عندك كوبايه زي دي هقول لك بقى لها كام سنه عندي، دي حوالي 25 سنه. كنت جايباها الاول مولود جالي، وبعدين نفعت اللي بعده، وبعدين نفعت اللي بعده، وفضلت ايه عندي، فخلاص بقى ما فيش عندي اطفال ولا حاجه، بس فضلت شايلها ذكرى. دي ملهاش عوزه بس ذكرى عندي. تنفع بقى ايه ولادهم لما يتجوزوا ويخلفوا اقول لهم بص كنتوا بتشربوا اللبن في ايه وبتاع والكلام ده.
التلفزيون ده طبعا بايظ، ما بيتصلحش، وحاولنا نصلحه كم مره فما بيتصلحش. وهو مرتبط بولادة إيمان بنتي برضو، إن يوم ما ولدت إيمان وجبتها من المستشفى وجيت بابا كان عامله لنا مفاجأة وجابه لنا، وأنا دخلت الشقة لقيته محطوط في وسط الصالة بالكرتونة بتاعته، ويرتبط يوميها إن مولد إيمان أو ولادة إيمان ارتبط بإن التلفزيون ده دخل الشقة عندنا. هو بقاله 21 سنة و4 أشهر بالظبط.
دي الكاميرا اللي انا جبتها من اول مرتب قبضته من 60 سنه. كاميرا زايس ايكون، كانت وقتها احدث كاميرا نزلت السوق. دلوقتي مبقتش مستعمله على الاطلاق. لما اتخرجت وتعينت مهندسا في الاذاعه كان عمري اقل من 21 سنه، فقعدت 3 اشهر ما قبضش، وكان مرتبنا وقتها 15 جنيه. لما قبضت اول مرتب اللي هو 3 اشهر كنت كملت بقى ال 21، وانا مروح البيت خرجت من الاذاعه عديت على المحل اللي فيه الكاميرا دي واشتريت الكاميرا دي ب 26 جنيه. 26 جنيه وقتها كان مبلغ كبير.
لا انا بالنسبه ليا ما فيش، حتى لو هضطر ان انا اخلق له مكان او هستغنى عن حاجه عاديه في الشقه بحيث ان هو يفضل موجود في الشقه. انا حبيبي.
المنفاخ بتاع السيلف تايمر تركب الجزء ده في الكاميرا، والجزء ده المنفاخ يبقى بعيد عنك في المكان اللي انت هتقف فيه. فلما كنا في قبرص وكان استقبلنا الاسقف مكاريوس رئيس الجمهوريه في قبرص، فلما حطيت الكاميرا على الحامل وحطيت الخرطوم بعيد عنها وبعدين قلت له اسقف مكاريوس بليز ستي از يو ار، وطلعت اجري ودست على المنفاخ ورجعت جري وقفت جنبه، فالراجل اندهش ما فهمش ايه اللي بيحصل. لما لقى ان الكاميرا تكت والصوره اتصورت انبسط وضحك على الاخر. دي برضو كراكيب لكن ذكريات ما اقدرش افرط فيها.
بشتغل بقالي 15 سنة اهو في البيوت عند الناس، وبعمل سلالم وبعمل حاجات من دي. دخلت ياما عند ناس ياما، يعني كل الناس عندها كراكيب، حاجات ياما ملهاش لازمة ومحطوطة على الفاضي وراكنينهم وخلاص، ولا تنفع للبيع ولا تنفع للاستعمال. هما حاجتهم وهم حرين فيه. والله انا بقول لهم نرميها يقولوا لا ما ترميهاش خليه، احنا عايزين الحاجة دي، بنضف واحطها مكانها. انا لا ما عنديش كراكيب، انا ما عنديش كراكيب اساسا، انا ما عنديش كراكيب خالص. اي كراكيب برميها، لو الاقي عندي كراكيب بقوم رميها على طول ما بسيبهاش. هسيب كراكيب ليه؟ انا مرات بواب وما عنديش سكن حتى.
احنا المفروض ان احنا نقسم الشعب المصري بتاعنا لطبقات. طبقه ما بترميش علشان هي مش هتعرف تجيب الكراكيب دي تاني، فبتفضل حاجتها موجوده عندها، رغم ان انت لو شفتيها ايه الكراكيب اللي عندك دي. في طبقه تانية اللي هي الطبقه المتوسطه بتاعت اللي زي حالاتنا، يعني لما طبقه الموظفين اللي مرتباتهم او دخلهم الحمد لله بكفيهم بس ما يخلوهمش يجيبوا حاجات جديده. انا ممكن اصلح او اشد انتريه جديد.
الانتريه اللي انا قاعده عليه ده انا اصلا كنت واخداه من اختي، فكانت هي اصلا قديم عندها وقالت لي انا اصلا مش عايزاه وكده، بس متبهدل التنجيد بتاعه، بس الخشب بتاعه كان خشب زان وجاي من بره من دمياط وكده. فانا طبعا استحرمت ان هي تتصرف فيه، يعني تديه لاي حد. قلت لها هاتيه انا عايزاه. فخدته بقى منها وقعد عندي فتره كده. كنت عامله جمعيه صغننه كده، ورحت جايبه القماش بتاعه، ورحت جايبه الراجل بتاع المنجد بتاع الصالونات، وقلت له لو سمحت شوف لي الانتريه ده يتكلف كام. وراح عامله وراح مجددهولي بالوضع اللي انت شايفاه ده، وبقى كل اللي يشوفه يفكروا جديد. اختي نفسها اللي هي اصلا خدت منها الانتريه بقت مش مصدقه ان هو ده اللي كان عندها.
كراكيب الاغنياء غير كراكيب الفقراء قطعا، وكراكيب الفقراء هم ممكن يفضلوا يستعملوها فترات طويله، غير كراكيب الاغنياء او غير كراكيب المتوسطي الاسر المتوسطه. يعني كراكيب الاغنياء كراكيب غنيه، كراكيب قيمه، كراكيبك بتقول انت قدرك ايه من الثراء.
هنا بقى هي دي بقى اوضه الكراكيب اللي بجد. طبعا انا قافله الاوضه علشان مش عشان هي فيها كراكيب بس، علشان بنتي مربيه قطط فيها وانا بخاف من القطط فصعب جدا التعامل معاهم، فانا قافله الاوضه. فطبعا هي الاوضه فيها كراكيب ومش لطيفه ومش نظيفه، بس قريب هتخلص من الكراكيب اللي فيها. بس ندخل نشوف بقى الكراكيب اللي فيها.
دي أوضة نهلة، وبما إن نهلة في أمريكا الآن فأنا بأسيء استغلال أوضتها لغاية ما هي ترجع تلاقيها متوضبة على الآخر.
ايوه بس ما تبينوش الايد المكسوره في الحله دي، غيرت لكم الحله. بالنسبه طبعا للعلب دي، بس طبعا احنا مش بنعمل دعايه. دي اصلا كنت جايبه فيها حمص من محل يعني في محطه الرمل، تمام. فطبعا العلب دي المفروض احنا خلاص كلنا الحمص نرميها، لا مش بنرميها، انا ما برميش حاجه. فطبعا انا خليتهم عملت فيهم ايه بقى، حطيت فيهم السمنه بحيث يبقوا تحت ايدي، بدل ما افتح التلاجة كل شويه واطلع منها السمنه، لا ده جنبيهم.
طبعا زي ما انت شايف ان الاوضه يعني كراكيب بجد بقى. دي اللي كراكيب بقى. الانتريه اللي جوه ده الانتريه بتاعي انا اللي انا متجوزه بيه. هو كان لغايه وقت قريب كان شكله لطيف ولذيذ وممكن نتعامل بيه ونتعامل معاه ونقعد ونعيش معاه، بس طبعا مع الوقت هو اتبهدل واتغير شكله، ملامحه اتغيرت. وده صالون كان عند في شقه حماتي، وجبناه اما حماتي توفت جوزي جابه وحطه في الاوضه. دي الحله النحاس بتاعت الحاجه الكبيره الله يرحمها، زوجي حاططها هنا علشان كل يومين 3 يفتح الباب الاوضه ويبص عليها ويقفل باب الاوضه تاني. اني كان جوزي مرتبط بوالدته قوي الله يرحمها، وحتى انا قلت له هو دي ملهاش لازمه عندنا، هنعمل بيها ايه؟ قال لي خليها من ضمن الكراكيب اللي موجوده في الاوضه.
لغاية الآن فيا العيب الخطير ده إن أنا ما بقدرش أشوف تليفون في فاترينا شكله حلو وما اشتريهوش. هتلاقي فوق السرير في أوضة نهلة كم هائل من التليفونات الأرضية. الدولاب ده مليان تليفونات ومليان أجهزة تسجيل. دي بقى الكراكيب مظبوط، يعني دي الكراكيب الحاجات اللي مش هتستعمل أبدا.
بلاش ده يا شيموس بلاش ده لو سمحت، أرجوك أرجوك بلاش ده. ده أصلا ليه حكاية معايا. حكايته إيه بقى؟ ده أصلا كنت جايباه لمامتي الله يرحمها من زمان قوي، كانت عايزة تعمل مخلل وكده، فجبته لها. قالت لي يا بنتي ده إيه ده كبير قوي المخلل مش هينفع وكده. قلت لها خلاص خليه، وشاريه من الراجل وكده حرميه. فرحت مخلياه بفضي بقى السكر، لما بجيب السكر اكياس وكده فبفضي بقى فيه السكر واملى بقى علبه السكر الصغيره اللي هي بتاعت الاستعمال وركناه بقى في السكر بقى بتاع الشهر كله.
الشنط السفر اللي ماليه سقف دولاب نهله نادر لما بستعمل حاجه منهم، لاني بستعمل الشنطتين دول شنطتين جوه بعض، دول اللي باخدهم معايا باستمرار وانا مسافر وانا رايح وانا جاي.
الغسالة دي بقالها حوالي 21 سنة عندي، فكانت بتبوظ كتير جدا. دفعنا أكتر من حقها تصليح، وبعدين في الآخر إحنا جينا رميناها هنا في الأوضة هنا وجبنا واحدة تانية.
هي عندهم دي طبع بيبقى ما بتغيرش. متجوز جديد قريب، هم ما بيسيبوا الكراكيب بس كده وخلاص. عاجبهم المنظر كده. واحدة مثلا يكون عندها خلاط بايظ ادتهوني صلحته واشتغلت عليه، استفدت بيه. صلحته ب40 جنيه واشتغلت عليه، بينفع. بنعمل عليه طماطم. وهي ركناه عندها، لما جابت واحد تاني قامت قايله خدي دي بقى يا امان.
تحبي نيجي نصور معاكي؟ تحبي نيجي نصور معاكي؟ نعمل معاكي برنامج. ما هو بصي ما احنا كده على الطبيعة. جميل، مفيش أحلى من الطبيعة، أحلى حاجة. جميلة زي القمر. هو في البلكونه طبعا جزء في ركن البلكونه، وده شيء طبيعي في كل البلكونات. انا نفسي ساعات ببقى واقفه كده بصي في كل البلكونه اقول طب احنا ليه بنحتفظ بالحاجه دي؟ طب الحاجات دي ملهاش لازمه، كل الناس محتفظه بحاجات في البلكونه، طب لازمته ايه؟ طب ما احنا عايزين نروق. وساعات اقف كده واروق البلكونه واحس ان انا كل اللي بطلعه محتاجاه تاني. يعني جيركن مليان ميه وركناه في البلكونه، طب انا دوت لو طلعته، طب لو الميه قطعت، وده بتحصل كتير طبعا، لان لما النور بيقطع الميه بتقطع، لان انا عندي هنا موتور والميه ما بتطلعليش الا بالموتور، فبالتالي لازم اخزن ميه.
لا حدث ولا حرج، يعني
يوميا
مرتين 3 في اليوم. يعني احنا الاول كان بيقطع بالليل ساعتين وخلاص، دلوقتي بيقطع بالنهار ساعتين وبالليل ساعتين، وممكن واحنا نايمين بيقطع ويجي. يعني ما هي دي ترشيد الاستهلاك بتاعهم، تخفيف الاحمال.
ترشيد استهلاك اجباري يعني.
ترشيد الاستهلاك، تخفيف احمال، بس مع الغلابه والعشوائيات والشعبيات. اكيد عندكم انتوا عندكم انتوا بيقطع في الهرم كتير؟
ساعة في اليوم.
طب انتوا ساعة، احنا بنقعد بالساعتين 3. انت عارفة ان انا ممكن اقعد في يوم الطبخة واقفة على ضرب القوطة في الخلاط؟
الحقيقة الكراكيب موجودة فوق أسطح العمارات من زمان قوي. ورا العمارة عندي في مدرسة إعدادي. سطح المدرسة مليان تخت ودكك وحاجات مكسرة، اهي دي كراكيب. إنما في نظر المدرسة عهدة، ما يقدروش يتصرفوا فيها لغاية ما يجي حد يستلم هذه الأشياء المكسرة ويعدموها أو يبيعوها خشب. لا أسطح العمارات في لندن حاجة تانية خالص. أسطح العمارات في لندن تقدري تاخدي 4 كراسي وترابيزة وتطلعي تقعدي فوق السطوح انت وضيوفك. أسطح العمارات في لندن فسحة.
دلوقتي انا عندي طبعا هنقل ان شاء الله في شقه جديده، فمش هينفع ان انا اخد فيها كل الحاجات اللي عندي، والشقه اصلا في العماره دي وفي النموذج اللي على اليمين، فهتبقى اصغر من الشقه دي بشويه، فمش هينفع ان انا اخد كل الحاجه. ففي حاجات كتير هنا هسيبها بقى، مش هينفع اخدها معايا. وفي نفس الوقت اللي هسيبها هنا بردك هتبقى لها عوزه، مش معنى كده ان انا هسيبها هرميها. حد محتاج لها واحس ان هو هيستفاد بيها مش هتاخر طبعا، اكيد يعني.
بالنسبة لي أنا بعض الكراكيب أو معظم الكراكيب اللي موجودة عندي ليها ذكريات عزيزة عندي، فعشان كده بالنسبة لي أنا هي مش كركوبة، هي حاجة حلوة، حاجة جوايا، خصوصا إن إحنا الزمن اللي إحنا فيه ده بقى الحاجات الحلوة والعزيزة بقت قليلة قوي، فلازم استرجع ذكرياتي وذكريات شبابي في حاجتي، حتى لو الناس كلها قالت عليها كركوبة، وأنا بقول على حاجتي كراكيب، بس أنا مش هستغنى عنها. كراكيب كراكيب بس تفضل معايا، زي ما بيقولوا كراكيب كراكيب بس تعيش.
يا رب خدش بس يطلع مظبوط. عندنا اكياس، عندنا صفيحه الرز، ماشي يا عماد صح. فتحسي حاجات زمان اصلا جميله، يعني هي جميله للي حاسسها واللي عارفها، وتحسي ان هو اصلا بيحب يعيشها. انا احب اعيش قوي زمان، احب قوي قوي حاجه زمان وعيشه زمان واغاني زمان وكل حاجه بتاعت زمان بحبها.
يعني احنا عايشين على الذكريات، وكل ما كان حاضرك جميل، كل ما كان حاضرك حلو، كل ما سعدتي بالذكريات اكتر. لكن اللي ذكرياته تعيسه وحاضره تعيس، يسعد ايه بالذكريات؟ ما هتؤلمه زياده. لكن الاحتفاظ بالكراكيب احتفاظ بالذكريات.
Choices and sacrifices made in the name of mother's love. To provide for her children, a woman in Thailand must deprive them of the love they crave and focus this compassion and kindness on her work with Alzheimer's patients from the West. While a Swiss family travel halfway round the world to leave their own mother in her care. Witness Kissing Mother Goodbye on Al Jazeera.
The latest news as it breaks.
With no treatment or vaccine for coronavirus, volunteers here say they'll continue to provide the services they can to fight the disease.
With detailed coverage.
A lockdown without any planning for India's millions of migrant workers.
And fearless journalism from around the world.
For many, coming to this place is the only chance they have to eat at least once a day.
Ramadan, a time of spirituality, reflection, and gratitude.
Raise the flags, hold the flags, every color.
Al Jazeera World reveals the stories behind some of the Arab world's songs and chants for the holy month.
This song touched the hearts of all Arabs.
4 Ramadan songs on Al Jazeera.
He had it all. The passion, the success, and the popularity. And then he gave it all up for the love of his homeland. Football Rebels delves into the realm of footballing legend Rashid Makhloufi, who fought for the Algerian National Liberation Front with his feet. Rashid Makhloufi and the FLN team on Al Jazeera.
World leaders and scientists unite in an $8 billion push to stem a mounting coronavirus death toll.
Effective treatments are in sight and they're critical. They're critical because patients are dying today and tomorrow and the day after.
Hello there, I'm Nastasia Tay, and this is Al Jazeera Live from our world headquarters here in Doha. Also coming up, a casualty rate that just keeps rising, predictions of 3,000 dead a day in the US by the end of this month. China denies discriminating against Africans after it's accused of forcing them to be tested for the coronavirus. Plus, cramped conditions and a lack of healthcare, a warning that it's a recipe for disaster in a Kenyan refugee camp. Now, a fighting fund of $8 billion has been set up to boost research into a vaccine and treatment of the coronavirus. Leaders from the EU and other nations pledged that cash injection in a video conference on Monday. But the United States, where almost 70,000 people have died, did not take part. Jonah Hull has more.
Coronavirus isn't going away, so the world must find ways to live with it. Better ways of testing for it, more effective ways of treating it. Most importantly, eventually, a vaccine against it.
The partners are many. The goal is one: to defeat this virus.
An EU-led virtual pledging conference aims to channel billions of dollars into the global response. It's not just about pouring money into research, but also about pooling resources and expertise for the common good.
The ultimate measure of success will not be how fast we can develop tools. It will be how equally we can distribute them. None of us can accept a world in which some people are protected while others remain exposed.
The US isn't involved, and while China is offering to help, there are concerns the world's two top economies, already at political loggerheads, may engage in a vaccine war. Donald Trump has already claimed a vaccine is just months away. Scientists point out that even if a vaccine is discovered in months, it'll be a lot longer than that before it's scaled up and available to the billions who'll need it, which is why it's so important to find drug treatments that work in the meantime. Both are central to the funds being pledged, and both are at advanced stages of trialling and research here at the University of Oxford. Professor Martin Landre is leading the world's largest clinical trial into coronavirus drug treatments, a project called Recovery. He's hoping to find an existing drug or combination of drugs that works to save lives well before a vaccine becomes globally available.
Yeah, I think cure is probably too strong. I don't think there'll be a single drug that suddenly wipes out coronavirus. But I think effective treatments are in sight. And they're critical. They're critical because patients are dying today and tomorrow and the day after. And even with the best will in the world, we're 18 months off having a scaled-up vaccine at best. We need treatments that deal with the problem of now.
Only in Europe and parts of Asia are there real signs of an infection slowdown. Globally, new cases of COVID-19 are being reported at more or less the same rate as they were a month ago. Fears are greatest for the developing world, where social distancing is inadequate or impossible. The greatest hope lies in a global effort against a global threat. Jonah Hull, Al Jazeera, Oxford.
Well, there's still a strong push to get back to business in the United States, despite startling new predictions on coronavirus casualties. Already, it's the worst hit country, with a third of the world's total cases of 3.5 million. But a report seen by the New York Times suggests the number of deaths each day will double by the end of the month. Patty Culhane reports.
The numbers are just hard to grasp. A new assessment from the Federal Emergency Management Agency leaked to U.S. media says the United States will have 200,000 new coronavirus cases every day by the end of this month, and as many as 3,000 dead every day by June 1st. But now the focus is on plans to reopen the economy, California allowing some retail and manufacturing, and New York making plans to move forward.
You open businesses first that are most essential and pose the lowest risk, okay? Most essential and the lowest risk. Phase one, we're talking about construction, manufacturing, and select retail with curbside pickup. They are the most essential with the lowest risk.
The U.S. Senate is back to work, despite the fact that its doctor said it didn't have enough tests for the 100 senators. They aren't planning on taking up legislation, just confirmations to executive posts and judges to the bench.
At the moment, the Republican leader has scheduled no significant COVID-related business for the floor of the Senate. Tonight, we will vote on a nomination to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission.
While the Senate isn't taking up a new relief package, the Treasury Department is trying to find a way to pay for the last ones, announcing it would borrow almost $3 trillion. and the Supreme Court went to work in a way that it has never done in its history.
Honorable, the Chief Justice and the Associate Justices of the Supreme Court of the United States. Oh yay, oh yay, oh yay.
It heard arguments on the phone. It's expected to hear 10 cases over the next 2 weeks. The country finding ways to move forward while acknowledging there will likely be a high price to pay for it. Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera.
Now, China has been accused by Human Rights Watch of discrimination against Africans during this pandemic. African students living in Guangzhou reported being forcibly tested for the virus and quarantined. Others say they were evicted from their housing and harassed. But the government rejects those accusations, saying they're an attempt by the US to harm China's relations with African nations. Well, we can now speak to Yaqiu Wang. She's the China researcher at Human Rights Watch, and she joins us now from New York. Yaqiu, I see that the province of Guangdong announced a couple of weeks back that all foreigners in the province must accept COVID-19 prevention and containment measures. But given that Guangzhou has China's largest African community, was this a move really targeted at them?
Yes, I mean, the government says that all foreigners in the province must accept containment measures, but in reality, only Africans are targeted. I mean, we don't know why Africans are chosen, but many people suspected it because, the government is using this COVID-19 as an excuse to target the group because there has been, discrimination already going on. And there are a lot of people suspected Africans of committing high crimes and overstaying their visas. So people are suspected, the government is using this as an excuse to crack down on Africans.
Let me ask you this, though, Yaqiu, because by the time that Guangdong announced that policy, China ostensibly had its outbreak under control. And I recall that most of the imported cases were Chinese citizens returning from abroad. Was there any reason at that point to focus on the African community?
Absolutely not. Because a lot of Africans I spoke in Guangzhou, they told me that they had already been tested negative. However, they were still taken to the hotels to be quarantined. And during the quarantine, they were tested negative again. After they were released after 14 days, they again got called to get tested. So there was no reason. This is completely discriminatory and racist.
Yaqiu, I see something like 14,000 African nationals live in Guangzhou, but many more, presumably, they're undocumented. So where does this leave them?
I mean, yes, research shows that that there are many undocumented, and the government, I think, is trying to use this COVID-19 as a way to, check who are undocumented and as a way to try to get, them to out of China, basically.
Oh, right now we've been focusing on Guangdong province, but how widespread is this in the rest of the country? And is this a sentiment shared by the broader Chinese population, not just Chinese officials?
I think there are two things. One is the forced quarantine and forced testing. I think this is concentrated in Guangzhou, and this is done by the government. And there's another issue, which is a lot of Africans experience discrimination, like on a daily basis, like being turned away by restaurants, turned away by hotels, shops, malls. I think this is widespread. This is not just in Guangzhou, and this is, across the country. People have racist attitude and racist behavior towards Africans in China.
Well, I see that some African countries are now evacuating their nationals because of all of this alleged mistreatment. And I mean, that's quite a statement, especially since over the last couple of decades, China's become Africa's most important economic partner. So is Beijing shooting itself in the foot here?
I think so, because Beijing has invested so much in Africa, infrastructure projects, and also just the efforts to form diplomatic relations with Africa. And now African people are very angry about this, and they see the videos online. They're outraged by this, and the African governments had called the Chinese ambassadors in their country, to basically criticize them for this. I absolutely think that the Beijing is shooting themselves in the foot.
And we'll continue watching those dynamics very closely. Yaqiu Wang there, the China researcher at Human Rights Watch. Thank you for joining us on Al Jazeera.
Thank you for having me.
Well, nearly 500,000 refugees who are living in camps in Kenya are at risk of a coronavirus outbreak there because of crowded conditions and a lack of health care. Malcolm Webb reports.
Anna Radio fled fighting in her hometown in South Sudan when she was 2 years old. Her parents brought her here, to Kakuma refugee camp in northern Kenya. It's been her home ever since. Over decades, it's become a city of shacks, home to nearly 200,000 people. Trips to the water pump or the market are essential. It's the way people get food to eat. She's worried about the spread of the coronavirus in the camp.
Where we fetch water, we have to queue, and social distancing is practically impossible. That scares me.
Anna's among nearly 500,000 refugees in Kenya. Many escaped the conflicts in neighbouring Somalia and South Sudan. Most live in camps like Kakuma. So far, no cases of the virus have been identified here. But refugee rights activists say cramped conditions and the lack of healthcare could be a recipe for disaster.
Unfortunately, it means possible devastation. People who are infected will not be able to be isolated. People who, there'll be a lot of transmission. The spread will be fast and the response will be slow.
The UN's refugee agency released this video showing measures that have been taken to prevent the spread of the virus during food distributions. It says it's added extra water points for washing hands, but that doesn't change many of the realities inside and outside the camps.
Protecting refugees from coronavirus is not only about protecting refugees or about protecting host communities. Really, it's about protecting all of us. And if everyone is not protected, then the truth is none of us are protected.
People in Kenya and other parts of Africa are waiting to see if or when the coronavirus will spread as much as it has in Asia, Europe and the US. Health experts say it could be disastrous. Anna says life's already become more difficult. The crisis has pushed up food prices. She's worried about her family in the weeks ahead. She says all they can do is pray to God. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera, Nairobi, Kenya.
Well, still ahead on Al Jazeera. Sports fans will get live action in South Korea, but under strict COVID-19 guidelines. And families are reunited in Italy after restrictions are relaxed, but there are fears about a second wave of infections.
Alone. Uncertainty. Doubt. Fear. In a strange place. Something stops you. Challenges test your strength. A rush of adrenaline. The light. The air. It is the moment. You elevated.
Who is in charge in Africa? Without a doubt, the women are. They are the backbone of Africa. They educate the children. They stay behind when the men leave. They are the guardians of the heavy burden of tradition. If they rebelled, Africa would collapse. But let's not forget the leaders of the village, of the tribe, of the family. Ancestral figures over which the social life of the community gravitates. Above them, above the women and the leaders, modernity has installed a new power, the power of the state.
You have chosen me because I do not have children, and you believe that I will be a good queen. But the spirit knows that this is not so. My mother has been possessed by the spirit on many occasions, and I have been as well. He knows that I should not be queen. The spirit has possessed us all at some point. He knows what should be done. It is true, but I am not in condition to fulfill this job. I am old, and my children have moved to Bissau. Who will help me? What is the point of being queen? No one obeys her anymore. The other queen did not die of old age, but of boredom. I don't want the same thing to happen to me. If I am chosen after all, things are going to change.
The Queen of Kanogo Island died 3 years ago. Following the primary process, which took place throughout the different villages of the island, 3 women have been chosen for the final selection process, which will last between 3 and 4 months. Today, they will announce these 3 candidates. The role of the Queen of the Bijagos Islands is crucial. There is a king who takes care of the issues of the men, and a queen who works with the women. But this queen is not the wife of the king. The role of the queen is an independent job. The women are the true political and social engines of the Bijagos Islands. Aside from having organisms under their own personal power, they own the land where they work. They have a lot of independence when dealing with issues related to relationships and sex. The children belong to them, and it is uncommon for these women to stay with the same man for more than 2 years. Kanogo Island is one of the largest and most inhabited islands of the Bijagos archipelago, which are located 70 nautical miles off the coast of Guinea-Bissau. Its contact with terra firma is minimal, and this has allowed for preserving one of the most peculiar forms of power of Africa.
My name is Julio Atiram, and I am the king of Kanogo Island. This is my home. We used to live on another island. This was a jungle where nobody lived. Our ancestors came here, fleeing from the queen who made their life impossible. That's what they say, and so I tell the same story. The first king who lived on the island was called Jassim. No one knows when this took place since nothing is written down here. History is told from era to era.
But the king does not work alone. He is supported by a cabinet of ministers, which includes 2 distinguished figures, the Okinka, or prime minister, and a spokesperson, who at the same time is in charge of guarding the sacred fetishes.
Being queen is a big responsibility, and I am too old for these things. The people come to you and tell you their problems, and you cannot tell them yours. From one day to the next, everyone will begin to treat me differently, and I don't want that to happen. I agree. Now whom can we tell that our back hurts, or that our children don't come to visit us anymore? I'm a widow, and there's a chance I'm chosen to replace the dead queen, but I talk with the spirit every day so that this won't happen. I'm the king's wife. My mission consists in being at his side at all times in order to support him. I understand why none of the women want to be queen, but someone will have to be queen, and the spirit will be the one to decide who she is.
I didn't want to be king either. I was poor and I was afraid. To reign, you have to be rich, have pastures and time. But my clan is the only one that can fulfill this position, and I was the oldest person. I couldn't say no. The king is very important for life in the villages. He makes decisions. He says no and he says yes. He's the one who decides if the youths can be initiated or whether they shouldn't. The queen controls the initiation of the women. In the last few years, the power of the king has declined. They want committees to rule. European culture is entering strong.
The presence of the spirits marks the path of daily life on Canogo Island. There is a main spirit, which they call Enre, and many uncountable secondary spirits. Every morning, the king and his assistants sacrifice a chicken.
The fetishes need blood, and we offer them chickens instead of goats or other animals since they are the least expensive. Only pork is prohibited. Chicken, goat, or cow, but not pork. They all have to go through me. Anyone who wishes to address the king or make a sacrifice has to talk with me beforehand. No one can speak to him directly. I also deliver and receive messages from other villages. I'm in charge of summarizing all the complaints and proposals of the assemblies for the king. And I'm left in charge when the king is not here. I know when the sacrifices have to be made, and I advise the king about the best times. There are spirits that model the acts of men and others for the women. I am in charge of the men.
Another of the daily activities of the king is to harvest palm wine from his sacred palm groves.
Look at those sticks. They're being wasted. They cut 10 branches when they need one. Tell the young ones not to do that when they go to the palm grove. Tell them to cut only the branches they're going to use.
During the 3 or 4 months that the election process lasts, the queens will visit every village on the island. There are half a dozen communities, which add up to a total of 2,500 inhabitants. The king accompanies them on these visits in order to listen to the problems that his people are worried about.
Our main problem is the hippopotamuses, which eat the rice when it is green. We are not allowed to kill them because they say they are going to become extinct. But if no solution is found for this problem, we will be the ones who disappear.
In the assembly meetings, the practical issues that worry the community are discussed, but above all, they dance and sing in order to go into states of semi-trance, or to be possessed by the spirit. The spirit only takes possession of the initiated women, a strict process of spiritual and social growth that lasts 2 years, and which is divided into different phases.
São mais fortes em suas culturas. Tem o que chamam de orebok.
They are the strongest women. They have what we call rebok. This occurs when a woman is initiated and the spirit enters her. She is no longer a normal woman. The spirit strengthens her and she overcomes the things of this world. They have a lot of strength here on the island. Even when the queen decides to kill someone, that person is killed. Coordinating with the women is not easy. They believe that they are always right. It is impossible to argue with them because in the end, they enforce what they want. When there was one queen, I had one problem. Now with three queens, I have three problems.
The villages of the Bijagos Islands are usually located in the interior of the islands for defensive reasons, but most of their productive activities are carried out in the sea.
Nas ilhas, usamos pouco o dinheiro.
Here on the islands, we use very little money because no one buys anything. We fish, we have fish nearby. No one buys fish because we work to eat. We eat what we have. We eat seafood, fish, and we cultivate rice. And this is something that we should not lose, and we are. For the last few years, Bijago culture has been on the path of extinction. It's disappearing because our youths are now in school and are learning about the European culture. Our ancestors did everything according to nature. School is good for men, because by going to school you can do other jobs, but we should not forget our culture.
This natural spring is for the exclusive use of the king, the queens, and his ministers. It is a sacred place. The waters that rise up from the interior of the earth at this point are blessed by the forces, which also care for the good judgment of the governors.
One of the main problems that we have is the fact that the youths are leaving and no one is paying attention to the culture. The youths don't want to be initiated. The women do not have a vision of the future. They worry about the hippopotamuses and things like that. But what will happen when there is no one left to keep us up in touch with the spirits?
Children die every day. They give us a health center, but there are no nurses or medicine. Why do we want an empty building where the people die because there is no one to care for them? This is why I prefer to die at my home. We don't have a teacher either. The school is there, like the hospital, but it is empty. I don't want to be queen, but if I am, I won't allow them to keep lying to us. When the authorities of Bissau come, we only get promises, but then nothing ever happens. They want to take away our power and place their friends in charge. They talk about running elections, but we have our elections here. Let them come and get to know us instead of coming to make speeches and empty promises.
The most important thing is for us to be united. They try to impose their authorities, but they won't be able to if none of us offers to be a candidate in their elections. What are they going to do? Bring someone from Boubaké or Bissau? If we are together, we have nothing to fear.
This is where our power lies. This is our weapon. We breastfeed our children, and our daughters will be the one who breastfeed our grandchildren.
Before the rice harvest begins, we have to know who will be the new queen among these three women. When the spirit arrives, no one will be able to contradict him. Meanwhile, we can only wait and not break any of the rules. She knows that. She'll know when to communicate it to us.
No act can be carried out on the Bijagos Islands without the presence of the spirits. Although it is an act for the proclamation of the three temporary queens, this is carried out in front of the king's home, and his collaborators officiate the ceremony. cane liquor and palm wine are drunk at the ceremonies. Soon the celebration turns into a great drunken ritual.
My dream is for the youth to return to traditional life and for us to live in peace without anyone bothering us. And I also want a doctor and a professor to come here.
Les droits de la femme. Est-ce que la femme a même des droits?
The rights of women? Do women have rights? It's true that in Mali they have signed international conventions which talk about equality among men and women, but honestly, the situation is quite different. The laws are dictated in favor of men. They are the ones who enjoy the monopoly. This is the reality. That is where we are.
The woman waits while the man is away. She is the guardian of the temple of tradition and the engine that drives the changes of progress in Africa. Even in the most depressed areas or in the places where the rules of tradition enslaves them, there is a woman who is driving the cart of survival. They go for water and breastfeed their children. They work the land and go to the market. But they are also students, businesswomen, and artists. Here, the women are determined to fight against the established norms.
I was the first one here to buy this fish. They used to throw it away. I have a very good relationship with the fishermen. There are even times when I lend them money for gasoline or for whatever. They give it back to me within a few days, weeks, or months. It doesn't matter. We trust each other very much.
Madame Bamba is an example of how the women, despite the many difficulties, are the true engine of the economy and the African family. They buy second-order fish, which nobody wants, then dry it and export it from Mauritania to different countries throughout Western Africa. More than 500 people depend on their job.
A woman who wants to work in the movie industry does not have it easy. But not only in the movies, in all areas. In the movies, in agriculture, or in any other discipline. Women have always had problems because in this African society, people don't understand that a woman is capable of doing the same job as a man. They say a woman's place is in the home, and her tasks are limited to taking care of her children and her husband. But if you, as a woman, get up and decide to do the same thing as a man, they call you all sorts of names, especially if you work in the movies. They say you're an easy woman. They say anything and everything.
Good morning, Bamako. It's 9:30 a.m. at Radio Dembe, 104.8 on the dial. Traffic at this time is slow, and we thank you for tuning in to our station. The campaign for the legislative elections in our country will be over in just 2 days.
a former French colony, underwent a successful transition to multi-party politics in 1992, after 3 decades of authoritarian rule. Mali is one of the best examples of a modern state built on the base of a wide variety of ethnic origins, different languages, and contrasting cultural feelings. In its democratic elections, half a dozen political parties compete, as well as many independent candidates. The elections have 2 rounds. Only the most voted candidates enter the second round.
My strongest wish is for the elections to take place normally, with transparency and no vote rigging. The politicians want to climb the political ladder. If they're going to be with the people, I want them to win. If they're not going to be with the people, I won't support them. I believe that politics is, well, each individual looks for his own victory.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. You are listening to Radio Dembe, 104.8 on the dial. As you know, until July 14th, we will be holding the electoral campaign.
For today's debate, we have invited 2 well-known candidates. To my right, we have Mr. Ibrahim Berthe, and sitting to my left, the director of the station, Mr. Mohamed Kimbiri. Are you worried about the possible lack of transparency during these elections? Any elections in Africa, whatever type they may be, are always under suspicion. Why is this? It's due to the fact that the administration and state are often used at the service of the party in power. I can attest to others, and the population is frustrated.
If I'm worried about the transparency of the elections, can I say that I am? I am worried about the transparency of these elections. I cannot be a judge and form part. The town councils are involved, but they want their own parties to win.
Ibrahim Berthe is the deputy candidate for the National Congress for Democratic Initiative, the political party that led the opposition against the military dictatorship. He is a lawyer, and he was a first-order activist in the fight for democracy in Mali during the 1980s and 90s. This is the second time that he is running.
Today in Mali, it is time for the rulers to understand that saving the people is not necessary. They can't be deprived of their power to decide when to change, if considered necessary, the government of the moment. I'm going to serve my country so that tomorrow there will be a good level of education, so that there will be employment, and so that public health will be for everyone, so that there will be laws against corruption and poverty. What Mali needs is what Africa needs.
Mohamed Kimbiri is the founder of the High Islamic Council of Mali and secretary of the Islamic Association for Salvation. He is running for the first time. He defends the law of God, the Sharia, as the only law of state, but he participates and accepts the democratic game. a balance that is difficult to understand and is the cause of many political conflicts among the African countries with a Muslim majority. In Mali, 90% of the population is Muslim.
The problem in Mali is the one who wins is the one who has the most money. Our members, our fellow Muslims, are in the mosques. They vote for us because they trust us, and not because we give them T-shirts or tea or envelopes with money. My party is a democratic party, a party that defends the laic nature of the state. If the Islamic current wants to express itself through the democratic path and in a dispassionate manner, I don't believe that it should be prohibited. To reveal and show exactly what the subtlest pathological syndrome is in accordance to Islamic ethics, that's my program. Thank you, Mr. Berthet, Mr. Kimbiri. Do you believe that women should be treated under the same conditions as men? In respect to my philosophy, I would like to say that contrary to what people may think, women are not mistreated or unappreciated in Islam. I can assure you that it is quite the contrary. Islam has given women a statue that has never been equaled by any other human society. I believe that, in general, women's rights are not different from men's. They are the rights to life, the right to education, the right to physical integrity. For example, men enjoy being the guardian of women, and education is thought of for men. Well, this video explains the message I want to get across during the elections. I'll play it and then you can tell me what you think. What do you think?
Well, it's okay. You dealt with the social issue very well, but you could have gone into more depth. It's not easy. Due to the fact that there's no room for family life, the husband is always absent. It's not easy. I think that we are all responsible in this struggle. It is my own personal fight so that tomorrow any citizen, regardless of his or her job position, if they are brave and capable of working for the good of the country, can do it. And yes, at some point, the people will decide by saying, we don't want to deal with you anymore. And they can quit their job without causing any problems.
The next question, Mr. Kimbiri, what is your opinion on ablation?
Here, there is a problem that has sparked a lot of conflicts and has given a lot of talk about. But I personally have never aligned myself with the abolitionists. Therefore, anything that the Prophet did not abolish, if we prohibit it now,
it would be equal to committing a sin.
l'interdire, c'est comme commettre un injustice. En tout cas, je ne vois aucun hadith.
So it is perfectly clear, there is no order by the Prophet allowing us to abolish ablation.
S'il est avéré que l'excision pose des problèmes sur le plan de la santé,
If it can be shown that ablation causes health problems for the young girls, I would agree to abolish it, because nothing in a culture is 100% perfect.
n'est à 100%. J'appartiens à une communauté musulmane. Je demande aussi, effectivement, comme l'a dit Kimbiri, on a dit que nulle part le Coran.
Like Kimbiri, I belong to the Muslim community, and it is true that ablation is not prohibited anywhere in the Quran, but it doesn't specify that it should be performed either. Therefore, given that it came before Islam, and it has negative consequences for women, I agree to abandon the practice. Many dictators proclaim to be democrats in Africa. That is the problem. Jacques Chirac said that democracy is a premature luxury in Africa. I truly agree with his point of view.
Donc vraiment, je partage vraiment son point de vue.
The system is not perfect, but we are trying to improve things in relation to the past, and I think that the necessary measures are being taken to avoid vote triggering so that there's no cheating. The need for the vote to be accompanied by an ID card was presented. Now 80% of the Mali population lives in rural areas. 80% of the people do not have ID cards. I think that politics is incomprehensible. In Mali, there is a lot of democratic awareness. Therefore, the elections are generally carried out under good conditions.
This is the first time that I've come to vote where the people are not fighting.
Je pense qu'on ira battre quoi. Voilà, c'est mieux.
Bon, si on me demande.
If they ask me about good politics for Africa, I would say that it should be free politics. Gaddafi is my idol.
After the first view of this morning, we can now announce the results of the last legislative election. The CNID candidate, Ibrahim Berté, enters the second round, which will be held shortly.
To be elected by the masses, if this opportunity arises, you can't just let it go away.
One of the real powers in Africa is that of the sorcerers of white and black magic, who control the population with their fetishes and spell. Modernity has not produced any changes in this aspect. In the process of immigration from the fields to the city, the spirits have moved as well.
Every medicine has its own requirements, and if they are not fulfilled, its effects decrease. I learned what I know from my father, and what I know I will teach to my son. It has always been this way. Weak people barely have magical strength, while the leaders and the kings have the most. A sorcerer and a king together are invincible.
Natural medicine is the most common of all magical medicines. It is based on the consumption of plants whose therapeutic reliability is proven every day. Remedies that include the use of fetishes and ceremonies with blood are also used. Illness is not a natural process, but an evil that someone has sent to you by means of a sorcerer. He has the power to dominate and fight evil. There are activities that are intimately linked to magic, like the job of the blacksmith. The knowledge earned from the forging and manipulation of iron grants him secret power.
When the effectiveness of metal weapons determined the winner of a battle in the past, the blacksmiths were looked upon as nuclear energy technicians, and their knowledge seemed supernatural. Today we only serve to make nails, but it's like any other job.
Hunters occupy another profession related to magic.
Before hunting, we always ask the spirits for permission, and we talk with the animals that we're going to hunt. They do not always agree with what we hunt, and so things get difficult.
Among those who have powers to dominate invisible forces, the sorceresses are the most feared among men.
Once a year, sorcerers and sorceresses come together at specific places in order to sacrifice human beings, especially children, and to eat their meat. They still do these things. I have never participated in these rituals, but I know that they exist. Everyone knows that they exist.
Power? I would like to know what power is. If my ancestors had been asked, they would not have had any doubts about it. But now there are many people in charge. Yes, I'm in charge as well. This is the festival of Bakatua. They're holding it in my honor. That means I must still have some control.
If you start it tomorrow, I feel that I will win with my group. Bahamas will win, surely. I believe and I trust you. We will win it.
Eric Ansa is a fisherman. He is the captain of a ship that goes out every day to fish in the turbulent waters of the Gulf of Guinea. Like the rest of his companions, Eric belongs to the Asafo Company II of the city of Elmina. This is an organization that was of a military nature in the past. Today it carries out social tasks at the service of the king.
About the way they will play the drums, then everything. They will start at 6 o'clock, as I'm saying. At least 9 o'clock, and we started.
The Asafo companies were the different divisions of the military at the service of the kings of the Ghana coast. Until the end of the 19th century, the power of these kings was absolute. Then they were obliged by the English to abandon their weapons. The power of the king declined, and the Asafo companies became mutual aid associations among the members of the community. Its liturgy of war also changed into artistic and competitive presentations.
Asafo number 2, we have our song, about 10 songs. They will sing. That will show you, I think, you should shout, or you should play the drums, or you should stop the drums, or you should follow the chief. All is inside the songs. Each one and what you have to do. Another one is what you have to do.
The Posuban, the places where the weapons were originally kept and the new warriors initiated, were turned into ornately decorated buildings with sculptures of war gods, and even European planes and ships. Elmina is a small fishing town dominated by 2 fortresses. One is Portuguese and the other Dutch. They remain here as a memory of colonial times. For centuries, these fortifications were used for the slave trade that was based on the Guinea coast. The kings were great allies of the European powers in the trade of human beings. The Asafo Company's armies invaded the interior villages of the continent in order to destroy them and capture victims. Thus, Elmina was one of the most important ladders in the traffic of horror. Today, it is a peaceful fishing harbor, which once a year pays tribute to a king who has more symbolic power than real power.
We're not at war anymore, and the real power lies in the hands of the politicians elected by the people. But the Asafo companies continue to be useful. They do voluntary work to keep the city clean and to help out on any job that needs strong hands. Tomorrow will be their day, and mine as well. There are 10 companies. Tomorrow they will compete in the lake, so I can see which company is best.
They all came together in the late 17th century. They formed the union, and the Asantehene is the head of the union. The Asantehene symbolizes unity for the Asante people.
Despite the fact that the Asafo companies have been recycled, they have not lost their religious nature, which once gave warriors strength during a battle. This mystical universe is made up of ancient warrior spirits and the figures of different powers.
He's the commander. When they are going to war front, he gives them instruction. Then you may see there's a young man here. They are twins. There's another one lying down here. They have a big role. When the group, they are going like 1 million, say, because of these 2 twins, they will come back 1 million. An enemy shoot a member of this company, they will wake him alive to fight again. You may see there's a woman lying down here. She's a virgin woman, carrying the juju. Then you may see this Adam and Eve. They are there. Like they are the people who bring sin in the world. So this company use them as their symbol.
And Eric, it's my son.
So we are proud of him because normally the young clerks are not interested in the fishing industry. But as we know, he's interested. We must give him the necessary assistance. The fisherman, and he knew how to paddle the canoe. So he's got the energy to paddle the canoe, and we are sure to him, and we are proud of him that he's going to win the race.
The morning before the race, Eric trains his companions. They have worked hard to get ready for the event. Working every day in the sea has not given them a lot of time to practice.
I and my group, about 8, we sit on this canoe, have our paddles. So maybe they will choose it 3-3 or 4-4. That we are coming to start the race. Then we'll whistle. We are about 4. So immediately we hear a whistle, then we start it. Tra, 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 tra. We end up here.
You need money. Okay, I'll give you money. What about you?
I need you to help me to go somewhere.
Okay. What about you?
I need boot.
You need boots. Yeah. I'll give it to you. What about my man? You too.
I need shirt.
You too. You need shirt
and money.
Okay. And you?
I need moto.
You need the outboard motor. Yeah. Okay. Then we all should play so that if you win, I will do everybody's needs to them. Anybody, anything anybody like, I wanna give it to you. Everybody can use it to buy whatever he like. Eh?
The big annual festival of the Asafo companies, called Bakatue, is celebrated during the first week of July. The local leaders of the towns near Elmina attend in order to accompany the king. The fishermen brotherhoods and the women's organizations also come. And golden symbols abound. It's a favorable day to show one's fortune and to wear the symbols of a glorious past.
Now, all over Africa and Ghana, we are trying to marry the new and the old. So now there's a concept, settlement, something to do with settlements. So conflict resolution.
The Bakatue is something that we inherited from our ancestors. When they arrived at Elmina for the first time, they met some spirits who told them where and when to build a city. This festival commemorates that day.
The origins of the African kings date back to supernatural times. A sovereign, although stripped of his political power, has great magical powers, which guarantee that rain will fall, and which protect the people from the evil spirits. In a country like Ghana, where there are more than 100 kings, modern political leaders are very careful about maintaining good relationships with the local leaders. They normally consult the king before making any big decisions that may affect the community.
The king is like a father. He protects the people as he would protect his own family. He defends it like a lion or leopard. He walks on the earth like an old tree.
The races are the highlight of the Bakatue. The ships of the Asafo companies compete in qualifying rounds, which will end with the 3 finalists at the starting line ready to race. After qualifying with a bitter argument, Asafo 2, Eric's ship, will be among the 3 finalists who will compete for first place.
there, as we are saying, they are there right now. I need them because they are my boys, they are strong for me. I used to go work with them all the time because they are strong like them all the time. So that I, as I am a captain, I also will see that what my group are doing is very good for me.